taking a little break. I'm always a little nervous in this area. This ravine all through here. So I always set my trail cams up, plot watchers. Set them up back there, and I've caught bear in here. This is the only area that I've caught bear 3 times. I caught them in here. And coyotes. I don't worry about coyotes, but I was just going to tell a little story that I normally don't tell. I don't think I've said anything on videos or about it, but it was 2009. I got off work. I usually work nights, so I got off early, about 4 o'clock, came out into the woods. And I walked back in after I parked on this old dirt road and walked back in about probably 2 miles. Came to this steep ravine, and I thought, oh, I'll eat some lunch here, you know. So I had this big boulder. It was really steep, and overlooked a valley, which was nice. About this time of the year, mid-October. Anyways, I ate my lunch, and I'm sitting on the boulder, and then I ended up I was leaning against a tree, and fell asleep. And I don't know how long I slept, maybe 15, 20 minutes. Then I heard this loud yell. Sounded like a person, like hurry or something. But I might have just caught the tail end of it or something, but woke me up, and I'm like, what the hell is that? I thought, got up, walked down around the old logging road down into the creek area. Figured I'm done, you know. I was tired, getting ready to walk back up, so I walked up the logging road in between a valley lake, big ravine, and I got this weird feeling, and I was just standing there. It was real quiet, and I'm like looking around. I'm like, something, you know, just weird. I was gotten real nervous, and I kept looking behind me. Then when I looked down over the hill, I thought I saw something standing there. And I'm staring at it. It was probably, I don't know, 35, 40 yards from me. Good enough that I can see pretty good, you know, what it was. I had my camera. It was on a monopod. And I was holding it straight, you know, like this. And I'm looking down. I'm like trying to squint. I'm like, it was blending in with the scenery, a little bit of the brown leaves and everything. And so anyways, I could see this thing. After I realized what it was, I could see the hairy creature staring at me, standing there. I guess I looked at it for maybe 10 seconds, but I couldn't move. You know, I didn't know if I was really seeing this. And I just stared at it, and then it turned real slow, walked down over the hill, because I could only see up from like the knees up. It was all reddish brown. Didn't have a lot of hair on. I could see like its chest and face had a little bit around, you know, but I noticed the hair on the arms was longer. But yeah, it turned around, walked away from me down over the hill, and I don't know what happened, if I just like collapsed or I just sat down quick, because I just remember hitting the ground, and I flicked on my camera, and I'm like, shit, you know, it's going to come up down this ravine and up over the other side, and I got a perfect shot of it, and I'm like nervous, you know, and I'm looking around, I'm like, and I'm filming, and I'm like waiting for it to come up over. I got a perfect view. Never did come up. What happened is I went down, and it went down through the ravine and up to the right, my right. Went up through the ravine where I couldn't see it, obviously. Because if it would have went somewhere to the left, I would have seen it. But what's weird about it is when it happened, you know, I was telling everybody, you know, nobody cares really. they act like they do, but then they think you're full of shit. So this was, I think it was 2009, something in 2009. Oh, my arm's getting sore holding this. So what I wanted to say was, a lot of people say, you know, if it wasn't 8 foot tall, it's not a Bigfoot. And I can tell you this wasn't 8 foot tall. And it didn't look like an ape. It looked like, every time I describe it to somebody, it's like a Geico caveman. Didn't have a big barrel chest. It was probably, I'm only 5'8", so it was probably only my size, you know, maybe a little bigger, smaller, you know, but not much. And it didn't walk with a big long stride either. You know, it tippy-toed down over that hill. And I just want to say that I listen to a lot of these people. Oh, the neck too. It had a neck. It wasn't like, you know, like they say. So I don't, every time somebody says all this crap, I just don't, you know. They always ask you, like, the stride. If it wasn't 6 foot stride on it, it's not a Bigfoot. Well, that's a crock of shit. Because this thing was standing on the hillside, and it was not taking a big long strides. Plus, a Bigfoot is like a person, built like a person. So we stand around. I mean, we're not standing around in a long stride. We got our feet together all the time. And we're not always going full stride when we walk either. So I hear all this stuff on all these Bigfoot sites, you know, and I just shrug it off, you know. Anyways, this thing looked like it was in good shape. You know, it was muscular, but nothing, you know, nothing like people describe them as being some kind of huge monster the size of 12 foot tall. And I don't usually talk about it anymore because, you know, it's, like I said, when I first saw it, it was a big deal, and I was excited, and I called my wife, you know, on the way home. I'm like, oh, geez. But I used to go out in the woods a lot by myself at night, and I won't do that anymore. I don't know why. That's just a scary feeling, you know. It's scary. After that, I went out and bought a $1,000 HD camera, you know, and thought I'm definitely going to get it. Bought a pistol I never carried before. But that's my story. And everybody's always like, oh, horse shit, you know, you had your camera there and you didn't film it. Well, you know what? There's a lot of times that you don't film things. You just don't think about it because you're staring at it or watching it happen. Then you realize, you know, it's like my wife and I at a little mill, an old mill, like a museum they turned it into, and it had a hairpin turn on it. And it was still late winter, but it was warm. And there's a guy on a Harley, him and his son. So he's coming down the hill, and there was a patch of ice there around the corner that he couldn't see. And my wife's going, he's going to wipe out. He's going to wipe out. And I had my camera, and I wasn't even thinking about it. I'm like watching him. She goes, film it. I'm like, oh, shit. I hurried up and filmed. He spun around, you know, hit that ice, spun around, laid it down. They didn't get hurt, but they were only going about 20 miles an hour, but I missed it. The only thing I filmed was when he was picking his bike up. So, you know, it just goes to show you, a lot of people just don't understand things, and, you know, like you didn't get to film something. Well, it doesn't always happen that way. There's numerous times I've seen bear and coyotes and everything out here and missed them. At the last minute, you know, you start thinking, oh, I should camera. Because I'm like a watcher as it is, you know, I watch. But that's my story. I don't post videos on it or go to blogs and, you know, bullshit about it, because basically no one cares. They act like they do, but they don't. They just want to say you're full of shit. But I just tell them there's no way in hell I'd keep doing this for this long. You know, investing all this money in FLIRs. You know, I got 2 FLIRs and parabolic mics and trail cams and plot watchers, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff. You know, wasting my time out here in the woods. Just wouldn't happen. You know, I got other things to do. I quit hunting and to do this. Fishing. I still like to fish, but I rarely get to get out because I'm always out doing this stuff. But that's my story. Believe it or not, I don't really care. Well, another thing, people ask me, like, after I saw that Bigfoot, it was like, did you find tracks? And I'm like, I didn't find any tracks. You know, it's like me standing here. I'm not leaving any tracks at all through these leaves. I just walked up through here and nothing. And I found a couple like scuff marks where it went down through, but you know, where the leaves were ruffled, but there was no tracks. And you know, people say like, well, the thing weighs like 600 to 800 pounds. Well, that's a crock of shit. You know, like it would be so, your tracks would be deep. This thing, I'm not leaving any tracks, and this thing wasn't any much bigger than me, so it wasn't leaving any tracks. And they asked me about smell. I didn't smell a damn thing. Didn't hear it. You know, didn't hear it going down through the woods, nothing. So I just thought I'd add that in. Because I was pretty nervous, and after that, but I went down over the edge and looked around, and I didn't see it. I couldn't tell where the hell, you know, where it went. There was no tracks. And I know it wasn't like a paranormal thing like a lot of these people say, like it disappeared. It didn't disappear. It walked down over the hill. It wasn't floating on the air or anything. It's just, it was the terrain you're in. You know, they don't leave any tracks, man. A lot of times you just don't see them.